So, but one of the books I have the epilogue to finish, so I've not actually finished the book, but I will have finished it by the end of February. So if I have anything else to add, I'll add it somewhere. But I already kind of understand what the gist is going to be, I think. So let's get into it. I only have one physical book yet again. My Kindle has taken over my life, or well, my iPad, but I just am constantly reading on Kindle Unlimited at the minute because there's so many options, it's so convenient, so yeah. I've just been loving the ease of Kindle Unlimited. I really like reading on a screen as well, which I'm surprised about. I don't prefer it to a physical book, but I don't mind it. So yeah, I'm just gonna get into it. There's a bit of a mixed bag in here, guys, honestly. This could go down one or two ways. I hope this reaches the right crowd. So what did I read first? So first book I read of the month was a book called Does It Hurt? A book called Does It Hurt? Does It Hurt? Does It Hurt by H.D. Carlton. Now I've heard a lot of things about this author. Mainly, sorry, there's a plane going by. Mainly being that they write really, really weird, messed up romance books. And this I hadn't heard much about. There is one called Haunting Adeline, which is the more popular of her books. H.D. Carlton is a woman, I think. She, yes. So this is the first book I've ever read of hers, and I've got some things to say about this book. It was interesting and weird. This follows a girl called Sawyer and also a guy called Enzo. It's a dual POV. There's quite a few of those in this review. I love a dual point of view. Like, why wouldn't I want to see both sides? Especially when there's like a main theme of romance. I feel like a dual point of view is so good, so good. So the girl called Sawyer is basically on the run. She is in hiding. She's not staying in many places for long. She's hiding from something anyway. And when visiting, or when staying in Australia, I think it's Australia, she meets a guy called Enzo, and she actually kind of likes him and wants to get to know him and stuff, but she knows she can't really indulge in that because of her situation. So she goes through her usual routine, which is stealing from men to get money to survive. And she feels really bad and like steals from him, and she's like, oh god, like it's a shame because I feel like something really could have gone like well with us. Things had been different. She does that, and then she bumps into him again, and she's like, oh god. And he takes her out on his boat, basically to get revenge. He wants to corner her and like confront her about what she's done. rebellion will be, but I like that. Element into it, but their whole relationship is really, really weird. The whole situation on this island is really, really weird and creepy. It actually kind of has like horror, thriller elements to it. Like, one of the nights I stay up way too late reading books. Like, this is a problem I have, especially if I have class or work in the morning. I get addicted and then I have zero sleep. But what was I saying? Yeah, so one of the nights I was reading this really, really late into the night, and I genuinely was so freaked out I had to sleep with my light on. And I'm not proud of that. Just a heads up, in case you don't like horror or creepy stuff, because it did give me the creeps. There was a whole twists, turns, left, right. I was not expecting anything for this book. I didn't really know what it was about going into it. I just saw it and I was like, I want to read that. Sounds kind of cool. Never read about a lighthouse before. Yeah, if you like really, really bizarre books, then go for that. I think I maybe rated it like a 3 on Goodreads, a 2 or a 3. It really wasn't great. But like, I did get addicted to it. I read it really quickly because it was like, what is going to happen? Like, I was so confused, but all the loose ends get tied up and everything. It's good like that, but it was a really weird read. So the book I read after that would have been my one for class. So I'll show you guys it, and if you want to read it, you can. It is a kid's book because I'm designing a book cover for it, so we had to read it. It's called City of Stolen Magic. I mean, it was a fun book. I wouldn't have read it outside of, having to read it for class. I'm not really gonna. That's about it for that. Okay, guys, this next one is possibly one of the worst books I've ever read, and I'm not even putting that lightly. I really did not like this book, like, at all. The next book I read was The Predator by Rooney X. Now, whoever these people are making recommendation videos on Instagram, stop what you're doing. If you like this book, I don't ever want to take a recommendation from you again. I'm sorry, you're all allowed your own opinions, but this book was torture to read. I'm not even putting it lightly, guys. Like, I'm lost for words. Like, it was the most boring, painful thing to ever read. And once I got in deep enough, I was like, well, I may as well see it through now. But that's 4 days. 4 days of reading that I'm never going to get back. That's another book I could have read in that time. And instead, I mean, I'm glad I know that I don't like it, but it was a waste of time. It was a waste of time. It's also written in the third person, which I hate. I hate, don't do that. It was so confusing and jarring to read, and it's supposed to be a romance book, but there was no romance. Maybe it happens in the second book. I mean, there's 5 in this series. Can't believe this author wrote 5 books and they're actually being, like, loved. And yeah, I will not be, this is like the most sure I have ever been. I will not be reading the following books of a series, like, ever. So yeah, the whole book, they just stare at each other. Like, they don't even really talk. They just stare and stare and stare, and you're waiting for something to happen and nothing happens. Nothing happens. Let me save you some time. Nothing happens. Like, nothing. I'm frustrated because I sat through So, if I can save someone else some time, please don't read this book. That's all I can say. I just really, really didn't like it. And I went on to read the reviews afterwards. It's rated like 4 stars on Goodreads. What is that all about? 4 stars? Who's reading this? And people were saying it was life-changing. I want to know. I want to meet these people and I want to ask, what about this book changed your life? Am I missing something? Anyway, I read some reviews that were completely validating what I feel, so I'm not the only one. But it still baffles me that there's people that love and adore this book, and I genuinely could not wait to finish it. So take from that what you will. But the next book I read, this book. This is my favourite read of the month. I've been reading this off and on since like the start of January, but then I got into Kindle Unlimited and I've been distracted, so I've been distracted for a month or 2. But I decided to just finish this, and I was kind of putting off finishing it. I hate when I do this with books because once I get really into a book and I start to love it, I don't want to finish it. So that's kind of what I done with this. I was really, really enjoying it, and then I got into that block in my head and I was like, no, I don't want to finish it because there's not a second book yet. It's coming out this year though, and I cannot wait. The cliffhanger in this, guys, the twist. Oh my god. Like I was shocked. I was absolutely shocked. So I've not even said the name of this book is called Perilous by Lauren Roberts. And guys, I am obsessed with this book. I rated it 5 stars. 5 stars on Goodreads. I don't actually know if I've done that yet, but this is a 5-star read right here. This needs to be read by everyone. So it's basically about a girl called Peyton, which I love that name by the way. She lives in this world of people called elites and mundanes, so they all have like a varying degree of magic abilities. She was born without any magical abilities. She's got zilch, nada. So she lives in the slums and both of her parents are dead. She's orphaned. And she only has like her friend that she lives with in the slums. And one of the elites are like the higher ones, the better ones with all the great magic and stuff. And there's a king who wants basically to purge out all of the mundanes with no magic. He wants an elite society. So he gets his son, who's called the Enforcer. He's trained his son to be this like mindless killer who just goes and hunts down all the mundanes and kills them. So he goes to the slums one of these days and bumps into Peyton, and they have a little run-in, and then she saves him from something. You'll have to read to find out. And then she is noticed for being this silver-haired savior, and she is chosen to go into, is it the Purging Trials? The Purging Trials. So the Purging Trials are to like showcase the powers of the elites and just to show off essentially. So she's like, what am I gonna be doing? But her father trained her really, really well when she was growing up, so she does know what she's gonna, like, she can hold her own. But all of the people in this are gonna be top tier, and who else is in it but the prince that she saved, the Enforcer, and his father is pushing him to win it so that he can show the society, his world, that he can protect them. This is so good. It's very Hunger Games. There's romance, but the chemistry in this book, there is no action in this book. Like, it's very PG. characters, and I was like, who are these? And that sent me down a spiral. So I next read Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas. I hate to say it, I love a good Penelope Douglas book. Now I know her books are either